Hi guys, we're starting in here because it's so windy outside. And you guys are on a legit selfie stick. It was in the truck, I knew it was in there, but you know, to go get it and do this and do that just takes so much time. Didn't get a movie on yesterday. I started out by trying to get a piece of steel for the upside down wood splitter that we're trying to put together down at Jeffrey's house. And I couldn't locate it any place. And my plan was to go up to Westminster yesterday morning, get the steel, then run over to the battery place, get a battery for the Kubota. Well, they didn't have the steel, so there was no point in going up there, so I didn't get that. And so then I rounded up a little bit of other steel and went down to Jeff's. So we're talking half hour north, then 45 more long minutes south down to Jeffrey's, and put it together, and I just didn't like the looks of it. It just didn't fit good. So I came back and I said, well, we're not in any hurry for the upside down wood splitter that I'm kind of putting together. I need my head checked. And a wife found out about it and she's not real pleased with it. What do you need another wood splitter for? I said, well, just what you got to do. It's like wood. You never have enough wood splitters. You never have enough. But anyhow, so I came back, I said, I'm just going to order it on the internet, and I looked it up 2 or 3 places, and a steel yard popped up, which it didn't pop up the day before, in Westminster. Now this is like 4 o'clock in the afternoon now. And so I'm going, I never heard of this. So I punched it up on the computer, opened their website, and it said C&O, I think it was, Welding. Well, I get my tanks filled there, but never knew they sold steel there. So I called them up and they had the piece of steel I wanted. They said they closed at 4:30. I said I'll be there in 45 minutes. So it must have been, I don't know, I got there at 4:15. So it must have been 3:30 when I called them. And then I went over and got my battery. And so that's where I'm at. So right now I want to put the battery in the Kubota. And I guess, ooh, the sun's kind of getting you there. There it is. There's the battery. There's a piece of steel I wanted right here. It's 3 inches. This one here was 4 inches, and it just didn't look right. Here's a couple other pieces just to try to mock something up, and didn't really care for that. So I'm going to grab. Now I gotta figure out how to make this thing go straight. There's a little knobby there. I'm going to grab this battery and we're going to go down the Kubota. We're going to try to clean things up a little bit and see if it'll work. Can't undo that with one hand. Nope, can't undo that with one hand. Maybe I can. I got to use the other hand, the one that's... Nope, I'm going to set you guys down for a second. Can't even do it with 2 hands. These straps aren't what they used to be from years ago. I used to buy straps like this a long time ago, and they work so much better. And I noticed on some of them, they have double things. Now this is a real thick strap. This isn't thin like paper like a lot of them are. I have a couple of those too. You know, you get them from time to time. Oh, that's the battery. Potatoes are now moved up to the garage where it's cooler. I'll show you one of those other straps. We're inside the old Chevy pick-em-up truck. I know there's got to be some in here. Here's another one, new one, that doesn't have that piece. If I can find, I don't want to hurt those glasses. Here's an old one. See if that's old enough to... See how it has this piece? I don't know what that piece does, but it makes it a whole lot easier to get those straps undone. And this is a newer one. I don't like that strap. Different straps I like. I got ropes. Carry all this nonsense. And that's where you're at. Frickin' Jeep. All sorts of goofy stuff in this truck. That's the back seat. That's where I sleep in Carlisle. And that's the front seat if you've never seen it. You can't really see it here. But that's what it looks like. Anyhow, I'll bring you back when I get down to the Kubota. Well, here we are down the Kubota. That's where the battery goes. I took it out. Here's actually the battery that came out of it. I'll probably test it to see where it's at. I gave him the old battery that was out of it. It's stay one battery ahead. Here's the tripod you guys are going on. What's nice about these tripods, I take the bottom piece off so you can pull this all the way out and make it a selfie stick if you want. So I'm going to try to put you on there, and you might just be, I'll bring it back once I got it on. You got to do some twisting around on this one. We'll be back in a minute. Well, here we are. We are at the Kubota. I just checked the voltage on this thing, and I'm not sure that the battery was bad. I just tested it, and it said, should have had a wire brush here, shouldn't I? Always forget something. The old battery read 12.7, but you don't know how much of that was surface charge. Or it could have just been dirty terminals, I don't know. But I figured that's the first way to go. Somewhere I got one of those things. Of course, I always forget half the stuff that I come down with. Where are we at? There it is. Just to liven it up a little bit. Clean it up a little bit. These are, they cleaned those. So we'll clean these up a little bit. And that looks pretty good in there. This one kind of hard to get to. Actually, they're pretty clean. And I got these things here. I didn't get them from there. I keep them. I don't know whether they help or not. They probably don't hurt. Woo! It is cold. It is about, it came out, it was 31 degrees. I was out here at 9:30. Okay, I'm putting that one on that one and this one on that one. I don't know if that's right or not, but that's the way it's going on. And we'll put the positive one on first, because that's what they say you're supposed to do, which it's probably better off to do it that way. Move that little bumper guard back. Get my 10 millimeter out. Alright, I'm going to bring you back when I got this all hooked up. There's not much point in watching me hook it up. That one was 12.5. This one, like I said, was 12.7. But that could be what they call surface charge. But I'm not sure about that, because when I started it, I had the lights on, which is what you want to do to kind of test the battery. If your lights go real dim, then you know you don't have much current in the battery. That kind of knocks off the surface charge, and they didn't. So it might just very well be the starter starting to go bad. So I'll be back in a little bit after I got it in, and we'll make it click. Well, we got it in there. I got a flashlight tucked up there. You can see it a little bit better. I had to take these inner rings off of this because these wouldn't go down far enough, because they had this flat piece there, which I don't know if it makes any difference. But we're not going to do too much more, because this thing has got corrosion on it from, I think, that other battery leaking. So I'm going to take it up and wire brush it and put a little fizz can on it to clean it up and let it dry. My hands are frozen, so I'm going to come back when I thaw out a little bit. So got some wire brushing to do and that kind of stuff. We'll be back in a little bit. Well, we're testing the battery. It's down to 12.2. I just turned on the, what do you call it, heating element. Of course, you can't hear it clicking. I got to put it in neutral. See if I can get it to, there it goes. Even the meter's cold. We're at 11.6. Got to give it about 30 seconds of warm up, and then see if this thing will start. And then I wanted to go above 12.5. That should be good enough. Nope. So I guess we're looking at a starter problem, and that makes it difficult. The reason it makes it difficult is because to get this up, to get to the starter, you gotta have juice. So maybe if it warms up in a day or two, we came back up to 12.1. I think we might have a starter issue. That's sitting at 12.7. Well, let's see if it's not charging. There it goes. The wires were loose down there, 14.4. So it's charging. It's a starter issue. But if it started this time, it'll start another time. So we're going to turn it off and let it sit. I gotta do a lot of clean out back here to get to it. And so that's where we're at. Bye-bye. Well, I'll show you guys the piece of steel that's going into here. That's why I wanted 3 inches. It fit in there good. The cylinder comes up a little bit higher than this. So if you come over, we'd have to cut a notch out of it. Then this is getting welded to that down there. Those are just some plates. We cut some 45s on there, on that 3-inch piece, just make it look a little bit better. So what we'll do is probably tack that on here, or maybe tack that on first, I don't know. Whatever's easiest. But right now we're gonna kind of measure where we want it on here. I think we want it so when this is sitting on the ground, that sits a little bit level. So that's just kind of an update on the goofy stuff we're doing. Well, we decided to tack this piece on here, kind of find where the center is. If it's off a little bit one way or the other, it ain't gonna make any difference. We're gonna whack attack this on here, and then stand it up on there and whack attack it there, and then who knows where we're going from there. So that's the latest. And this is the little corners he knocked off, so they wouldn't, I don't think they'd catch you anyway, but just a 30-second update. Bye. All right, another 30-second update. We're going from this part of the wedge at the very end point out there, and then we're going to the other side to make it as close as we need to get it. I mean, we're not making a Stradivarius here.
Within a 32nd of a minute.
Well, that's pretty damn on close. I don't think the wood will care.
No, if you're sitting in the seat and the log splitter's going sideways, that would look pretty bad.
Well, that's the way they're making them now, is go off the sideways of them.
Is that right?
Now I'm just going to put a weld on it so it won't move until I crash it. We'll bring you back after he's got the weld. You'll see some pretty welds. He's been practicing on a lot of my stuff over the years. So that's about how it'll look. It'll be upside down like that. That dog don't like that. That dog don't like that. Kind of grinding this so we can weld it. He can weld it. Be back in a little bit. Well, I know kind of a lightsaber here, but that's kind of, it's in place. I'm kind of trying to hold the shadow on it. That's the start. Now we're getting ready to put the 4-inch plate. You can't see, everything's shadowing. The 4-inch plate, this is a 3-inch plate, 3/8. This is just lighter weight, 4-inch, and that's going to go on the bottom. Then we got 2 struts coming up. So that's where we're at now. And it is 1:30. I didn't get started till, when did we get started? At 1 maybe? No, 12:30, 1. Had to eat donuts first. See ya. Well, getting ready to chop this piece off here, but I found this was interesting. This is where they cut off the end of a oxygen bottle. That's the, I don't know what they were doing. Never know. Let me get this, well, I can't hold the camera and do the cut at the same time is the problem. So we'll be back in a bit. Well, Jeffrey ran in the house for a bit, grab another snack, I think, I'm not sure. These are the welders where I think this is the plasma. That's the stick. That's the, can't think what I'm thinking of, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And these are the 1, 2, 3, I guess different wire feeding systems he's got. And he's got the gas, and he's got spot welders and all sorts of stuff. Not plasma, can't think of the name right now. Heliarc, maybe that's what it is. I can't think, but you guys know. And that's about where we're at. Light coming in through that window pretty good. So that's just an update. Thought you might be interested in those toys. Minute update. All right, we got a change of plans already. Plans change. This is going to get cut in half long ways and put 2 triangulated pieces on this way instead of 2 long struts coming up that way. I think it'd look a little more authentic, maybe it's the right word. Now I can't be photographing this while he's cutting because somebody's going to have to catch the end when it comes off. But he's got it laid up with a straight edge. We're going point to point, and his tip is a 1/2 inch off center, so that's a 1/2 inch, and he'll just. So we'll bring you back a little bit and show you where these are going. All right, well, here's where we're at. We're making wings. Look at it. Looks like a jet, doesn't it? What we're going to do is we're going to separate this a little bit so you can get beads down on each of them real nice to this piece, and we're going to cut this flat off because it'll have to. This it would wedge. It'd be a lot stronger flat, right? Right?
Give them a weld.
Left. All right, back at it, guys.
They're handy for little shit.
We got our line ground off the black there. Line ground off the black there. This is fairly bare. You think that's going to be bare enough up that way? You want to touch it?
Where?
I guess we might be grinding this. So I should grind this off, shouldn't I? I got paint on this side.
Yeah, probably.
All right, we'll be back. That's just a 30-second update. Here you go. We got a straight edge on it now because it was bowed a little bit. We had to put a piece under here and pull the 2 edges down. As you start to weld, it's going to bend and curve and kind of go every goofy which way that you could imagine, but it probably came up 3/16, maybe 3/16 to 1/4 on each side, maybe not quite that much, or actually this was actually down. So got to get everything tacked in before we can weldo it. Over now. Well, here we are at Boeing putting another jet wing on. And there's the machine gun, what do you call it, guide. A little bit of glue on here, metal glue.
Electro glue.
Electro glue. Just kind of lightly attacking it. You can put one up the top up here.
Put one somewhere.
And then we got to put the other wing on. And we're going to weld the jet engines on real tight. See ya. Well, we got the other wing on. Well, it's tacked. Now he's going to do some sewing across the bottom. I mean, stitch welding across the bottom. He's a good seamstress. And it's a little off here, but I think he can fill it in with weld. So, but if your wood splitter's off, it's going to split wood crooked. So I don't know if we got to fix that or not. And we are into it. Now we're into it for not quite 3 hours now. It's 3 o'clock. I don't know. We started, I don't know what time we started. Started earlier today. Anyway, we got the jet getting ready to take off. We're trying to figure where to put landing gear now. Well, I think the airplane jet is all done. He's got it stitched across there. Got a little weld across there. Little stitches up there. He's a good seamstress. Now we got to get the airplane off the aircraft carrier. Yeah. We need Shive down here. Shive could just pick it up and set it down. And I gotta get little grinders and get all the little MIG balls off and stuff like that, but we'll do that at another date.